Hi, thank you for joining me for today's process video, and this is my first video for June for Hey Little Magpie design team, and I'm using the new Pretty Little Studio Good Vibrations that we've got in the store. So I chose this stripy paper and I'm tearing a strip to put down the left hand side of the page, and then I've also chosen this lovely white with the black specks to go underneath it. I'm going to curl up the edges as I tend to do. I'm just pulling a little bit off this one because I wasn't quite happy with the shape that I'd torn, and I'll do the same with the white one afterwards. And these photos are of Amelia in lockdown in 2020 with her precious bottle of yuzu milkshake. My sister knows that Amelia was absolutely in love with yuzu milkshake after our family holiday to Herm, and when she went to a local wholesaler to get us some bread flour and things, she saw that they had a crate of them, so she bought them for her, which was so sweet. Amelia was thrilled. It was just a really lovely gesture of her. It's these little things from lockdown, isn't it, that we remember and want to remember, so that's why I'm documenting these photos. So I printed the photos out using the Project Life app on my phone. It's 4 photos printed on a 4x6 photo, and they create a really nice set of photos to add to a layout. So you can see here I've pulled out one of the brand new stamp sets from Hey Little Magpie. These were designed by me, and this is the brush strokes set, and I'm just going to use one stamp all the way down to the right hand side of those layered papers. So I've pulled out some inks that are going to work with these the paper, and I've gone down. If you look at the stripes on the paper, I've started with the pink, which is picked raspberry, and then I've gone on to the orange, which is spiced marmalade, and then the yellow is fossilized amber. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So there's the orange, then the yellow. You can see that I'm overlapping the stamps each time I go. I'm putting them at different widths apart, just offsetting them against one another so that they look nice, I suppose, in a string going down the page. It's a shame because I do actually cover a lot of these with the photos. I wasn't thinking clearly when I first started with this. Well, actually, I wasn't exactly clear on what I wanted to do with the photos, and you'll see I leave the footage in because there are a few different options that I had. So that green, after the fossilized amber, the green is Mowed Lawn that I've added there, and then I'm adding on Uncharted Mariner, which is this beautiful deep blue. I wouldn't say that all these colours are absolutely perfect matches to the colours in Pretty Little Studio's Good Vibrations papers, but these are the ones that I chose, and I think they work really nicely. So the one after Uncharted Mariner is Speckled Egg, and then finally I've got Lost Shadow as the pale grey, and then it starts all over again with picked raspberry. So just putting that Lost Shadow down, and you can see I'm not washing the stamp each time, I'm just wiping it over with some kitchen towel and then continuing with the next colour. So I'm nearly down to the bottom. I finish with a layer of spiced marmalade. So I'll just wait to finish doing this. Sorry about the camera shaking. I think I was being a little bit vigorous when I was pushing the stamp down. You will have seen when I put the very first stamp down, I hadn't primed the stamps at all, and it didn't stamp as clearly as I wanted. So I just did a double stamp. I just layered it over. With it being a clear stamp, it's very easy to layer them over and try stamping again. And that worked. It just filled in the blanks that I'd missed. So there's the last one going on now. And then I have to decide how I'm going to put this. So at first I thought I was going to have this strip of paper on the left-hand side, and that is how I end up. But you'll see in a minute, I turn the page around and I think, gosh, it would look really nice with that at the bottom, actually, with the photos sitting on top of it. And then I think it would also look beautiful with the strip along the top and then the photos underneath. And I do consider that briefly, but then I decide to go back to my original thought. So I'm just playing about with the positioning of the photos, trying to work out, but I know this strip, no matter which way around I have the photos, this strip is going to go down that left hand side, so I'm just sticking that there. Now these papers, we used to stock Pretty Little Studio years ago, and they really were quite shiny. They do still have a very slight shine. You see it in certain lights on the camera. It's not the paper, it's the inks that have been printed on it that have a slight shine to them, but not enough to be upsetting when you're scrapping with them. They certainly aren't shiny papers. So I hope that clears that up for anybody who was wondering. I think Helen's working with this collection this month as well, so you see her layouts using it and see what you think. So I'm just matting the photos now onto some white scraps of cardstock and then just using my scissors to cut that out. And I've decided that I'm going to have 3 photos down the left-hand side, covering up most of that beautiful inking, which is a bit frustrating, but it's just the way it goes, isn't it? And then 1 photo on the right-hand side there, and have that as a cluster. So just matting this photo here, and then I'll do the last one on the right-hand side, just fiddling about with the positioning and realising that I am going to cover up a lot of that inking. It did gut me a little bit. So here's the last one, and then I can get that down. So do check out the new stamps on the website. We've got 5 new sets. They're absolutely gorgeous, if I say so myself, all designed by me, so you won't find them anywhere else. And obviously check out the pink Pretty Little Studio collections. We've got 2, this one and Well Read, both absolutely beautiful, and so many different bits and pieces to use, from stickers to ephemera bits. So you saw there, I cut out one of the cutter parts that says Picture Perfect Day, because it was a beautiful sunny day, and obviously we were very happy to have our new provisions. So I'm using that as my title, and then I've just used some of the label pieces to layer up. In Jackie's video the other day, if you watched her video on the Hey Little Magpie channel, she talked about using circular pieces as grounding pieces for her ephemera clusters. And she also mentioned in the chat with me that she sometimes uses labels. So when I saw this pack of labels, I thought, yes, I'm going to try that. And it does, it really helps to have that as a grounding piece, and then add the other bits and pieces on top of. So you can see here, I'm just slipping the photos underneath that the black and white dotty paper, and then adding a foam pad. It's a Sticks to 25mm foam pads that I'm using to the right hand side of the photo, so it just lifts the right hand side up, and then the left hand side is flat against the page underneath that torn paper. So now I'm going to work on this right hand cluster. So using the same paper that I've got on the left hand side, I'm just adding a little bit behind this photo, keeping that torn strip on the right hand side so I can curl that up. And then I'm going to bring in my notebook punch from EK Success and punch the top. Now I left too much paper at the top first of all, so I punched it and I wasn't happy. So I just trim that off and try again, and I'm much happier with the height of the paper after I've done that. So that bit I've just ruffled up the notebook punch bit just to provide a bit of texture, and then I'm just working out how these pieces are going to go here. So sticking down the labels, I've just trimmed off the very end of that bottom label, just so it looks like it's going off the page, and then I'm going to butt this piece right up against the edge of the page as well. And the way that the paper is torn and curled, that Picture Perfect Day piece tucks really nicely under there, so that you can still read the title. So just sticking all those bits down, and then I can continue to embellish. So first of all, with this sticker sheet, straight away I see that lovely title that says Good Stuff. So I think that works really nicely with my photos. And again, I wanted a grounding piece for that, so I'm using one of the labels, the circular label this time, in the lovely mustard colour. So I'm just going to stick that down. And then I'm looking at what else is on this sticker sheet before I move on. So I see these little phrases, and one says perfect that goes at the top, and then awesome at the bottom. I don't want to bring it too much out into the middle of the page. I'm quite happy with having that column on the left hand side and then having that bottom cluster. So I'm just going to add a few little bits to that cluster there. So this is another sticker sheet from the collection, and I find this circular bit that says The Happy Life. So I'm going to add that to the bottom there, and then there's a little flower that I pull off this sheet, and that I'm just going to add to that cluster, and that finishes that off nicely. A couple of little hearts, just as little scattering pieces around that. And then I'm going to come in with my journaling, and my journaling is just about what I said at the beginning about our holiday and how Amelia loves her banana yuzu milkshakes. So just looking to see what else I can find on these sticker sheets, and I find this lovely star that just finishes off that right hand cluster nicely. And then I decide that the card is still very, very white where I've not added anything. So I'm just going to go back through those inks in the same order that I've added them to the page, and just add some light splatters, covering up the photo so that I don't get splatters all over that. And then going down on each colour to match where they've been stamped. So they're the first three, and then I'll come back in. Now I won't go below the pale blue, the, what was it, speckled egg at the bottom, because that's where I've got all the journaling and other bits and pieces, so I don't need to add any splatters there. It's more just to the top part. So the green first of all, and then when I go in with the Uncharted Mariner, I was a bit heavy on the water and it gave very big blobs, so you'll see now I just daub those up with the corner of the tissue, just so that they're not too intense. And then finally this speckled egg. So that's that done. I just need to add my roller date at the bottom to that label, and that's the end of the layout. I really hope you've enjoyed this process. Do ask if you have any questions, and I shall see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.